If you look at Yu-Gi-Oh decks nowadays, you're bound to see decks with multiple archetypes in them. Decks like Runic Sprite, Super Heavy Sword Soul, Adventure Synchron, the list goes on. Truly, some decks are just made to go together, but not every deck. I'll be combining different archetypes to see what makes a deck good and what makes a deck not so good. This is the Yu-Gi-Oh Monster Mash! Hello and welcome back to another episode of the Yu-Gi-Oh Monster Mash. Last time, we played Sprite Goki, a deck I made during tier format last year. We went X1 and got second place with it, which honestly surprised me since the deck is definitely rogue. But for this episode, I wanted to bring back an old favorite that I first played back in 2021. I got into the game in 2020 and my first real competitive deck was Dino. I think it's easy to see that 2.5 years later it's still one of my favorite decks. However, this isn't just any regular Dinos list, this is SHADDOLL Dinos. It's a blind second deck that aims to either OTK the opponent or set up a board after breaking theirs. So for the deck profile, to start us off we have 3 Soul Leaning Oviraptor, 3 Baby Ceresaurus, 2 Animadorned Archosaur, 2 Ultimate Conductor Tyranno, 1 Giant Rex, 1 Overtex Coatless, 1 Dino Wrestler Pankratops, 1 Petite Pteranodon, 1 Xeno Meteor CR because I wanted to flex it, 1 Fire Opalhead, 1 Miscellaneousaurus, and 1 Dogoran the Mad Flame Kaiju. Outside of Overtex Coatless, this lineup is pretty standard. Coatless is here because when sent to the graveyard by card effect, it searches Double Evolution Pill. It's essential for our main SHADDOLL combo, which I'll show in a second. For the non-engine monsters, I played 3 Kashtira Fenrir because it didn't get hit on the ban list, and I was able to buy 3 copies, 2 Lithosagin for consistency reasons, and 1 SHADDOLL Beast. The SHADDOLL engine is relatively small, but it doesn't need to be any bigger than this. For the engine spells, I played 3 Lost World, 3 Fossil Dig, 2 Double Evolution Pill, and 1 Ground Xeno. I'm only playing the 1 Ground Xeno because if I'm being completely honest, I own the one from Sealed Only and don't want to spend money on it when I know I'll eventually pull 2 more on the channel. For the non-engine spells, I played 3 Dark Ruler, 3 SHADDOLL Fusion, and 1 Duster. When making a blind second list, you want to be including the most impactful board breakers, and I felt like Dark Ruler and Fenrir are both incredibly impactful. For the extra deck, I played 1 Linkuriboh, 1 Secure Gardener, 1 Pentastag, 1 G-Golem Stubborn Menhir, 1 G-Golem Crystal Heart, 1 Nightmare Unicorn, 1 Axis Code Talker, 1 Dolka, 1 Baguska, 1 Evolzar Lars, 1 Zeus, 1 Baron de Flor, 1 Mud Dragon of the Swamp, 1 El SHADDOLL Winda, and 1 Garura. Extra deck space is incredibly tight in this build, and looking back on it, I probably should have had Gigantozauler in here somewhere, and there were times that I could have made an Appaloosa in addition to my end board, but I just didn't play it. For the side deck, I played 3 Super Poly, 2 Lightning Storm, 2 Thrust, 1 Tactics, 1 Called By, 3 Ash Blossom, and 3 Anti-Spell Fragrance. We don't plan on going first, but some matchups it would probably be better if we did. Alright, so for the combo, it starts with us activating SHADDOLL Fusion, sending SHADDOLL Beast and Overtex Coatless to summon El SHADDOLL Winda. On summon, we could trigger Coatless as Chainlink 1 to search Double Evolution Pill, and Chainlink 2 SHADDOLL Beast to draw a card. We could then activate Double Evolution Pill, banishing Beast and Coatless and summoning Ultimate Conductor Tyranno. Basically, if you open any way to bait your opponent's negates, you can set up Winda as a floodgate and Ultimate Conductor Tyranno to beat over any monsters they might still have. Plus it acts as interaction on their next turn. It's just a neat little combo that turns SHADDOLL Fusion into another power play we have at our disposal. So, with the profile and combo out of the way, let's see how the deck performs. For this episode, I decided to just go to another Friday night locals, as they're the easiest for me to record. Round 1, I played against a new player at our locals named Zach, and he was on Dragon Link. I lost the die roll and he chose to go first. He's able to go full combo, ending on a board of Borreload Savage Dragon with Triple Burst equipped, Boral End Dragon, Regain to revive the Magma Engrave, and a Druis Worm he searched in the end phase. I go to my main phase and activate Miscellaneousaurus to potentially bait out one of his negates, which it does. From here, I use Fossil Dig to grab Baby Ceresaurus. Then I activate Lost World and use Misk's effect to special Animadorned from deck. I activate both of their effects and Zach chains Regain to summon back Magnemite. Lost World and Animadorned resolve, putting a token on Zach's field and destroying the baby in my hand. Baby summons another baby from deck and I see a way to OTK. I normal summon Oviraptor and search Dogoran. Dogoran outs Borland, and from there I'm able to go full combo and swing over everything for massive amounts of piercing damage. Game 2, Zach makes me go first. I start off with Lithosagin, popping Baby Ceresaurus and Giant Rex from my hand to summon itself, and banishing Borland, Barone, and Chaos Angel from his extra deck. However, Zach ashes my Baby Ceresaurus. I don't have another way to combo here, but I do have UCT in hand. So I summon UCT by banishing Baby and Giant Rex and bring back Giant Rex. It's not the craziest board, but at least it has one interaction. I pass to Zack and get Dark Rulered, guaranteeing me another turn. Zack follows up with Brander Regained, then activates Boot Sector to special the rocket recharger he had in hand. His last card is Quick Launch, which gets him to Tracer. This allows him to synchro for Scarlight Red Dragon Archfiend, which destroys any monster on the field with lower or equal attack as it. Thankfully, Scarlight is only at 3000 attack, and my UCT is at 3500. In this position, Zack has no plays but passing, so on my following turn I book Scarlight and destroy Coatless. Coatless then searches me another double evolution pill. This gets me a second UCT and Giant Rex. I can't go for lethal this turn, but when I pass back to Zack, he just scoops. His top deck was Dark Ruler, but even if he used it, he didn't have any good options even if he reborned his 2 rockets back with Boot Sector. Round 2 we played against G. We played him last week for sealed only, and like last time, he's on Danger OTK. He won the die roll and made me go first. I special summoned Fenrir and follow it up with a normal summon of Oviraptor. Unfortunately, I didn't see a way to really combo here, but I did have another Oviraptor in hand. So I end up just adding a Baby Ceratosaurus so I could play on my next turn if I get that far. Fenrir also adds us another copy of itself. I pass to G and he activates Desires, drawing 2 cards. He then Kaijus my Fenrir, summons Alpha in his own Kaiju, and then an extremely good normal summon in the form of Deep Sea Diva. Diva summons another copy of itself from deck, and then G synchros his Divas and level 8s into Barone and Changyi. G beats over my Oviraptor but leaves the Kaiju on field so I can't special Fenrir on my turn. He passes back to me and I Dark Ruler him, and I have full combo in hand but he just scoops on normal of Oviraptor. Game 2, he makes me go first again, but while I have full combo, an Imperm on Oviraptor makes me end on just Dolka and Lars, which is actually still 4 interactions. Kind of crazy all things considered. I pass back to G and he activates Interrupted Kaiju Slumber, which forces a Lars negate. He follows it up with Tactics and I negate the Lars again. He activates Trade-In, pitching Bigfoot and tries to pop Dolka, but I negate it with the Dolka. He ends up just scooping again because he bricked. Really short match, but good games nonetheless. Round 3, I'm up against Carl, and wait a second, this is the second week in a row that I played against G round 2 and Carl round 3. That's incredibly unlikely all things considered. Anyways, Carl was on Vanquish Soul. I won the die roll and went second. Carl knows what I'm playing because I talked to him earlier in the day, so he sets a monster and 2 back row and passes. I activate Lost World and then ground Xeno, adding Xeno Meteorus and popping a Dark Ruler in my hand. And unfortunately, Carl activates there can be only 1, meaning both players can only have a maximum of 1 of each monster type on their field. Basically, I can't control more than 1 dino. In most situations, this would be an instant loss, but I decide to play it out. On summon of Meteorus, I use Lost World to put a token on his field, meaning he has to use the Link to summon his big monsters. It's not the greatest game plan, but it's the only one I have. I attempt to swing over his set monster, but he uses Book of Eclipse. I have to pass back to Carl, with the draw off of Eclipse being coatless. Carl tributes the token and set monster for Caesar Valius and swings over Xeno Meteorus. In main phase 2, Carl links off Valius for Rocket the Vanquisher and uses Rock to summon Heavy Borger from hand and then passes. I Dark Ruler him and activate SHADDOLL Fusion, sending Beast and Coatless to summon Winda, and I summon a UCT from hand. I put a token on Carl's side of the field to play around a potential Fenrir, and I swing over the rest of his monsters. I pass back to him and he activates Continue, reborning Valius in defense. If Continue didn't have that restriction of only being able to summon defense, I'm pretty sure I would have just outright lost this game. Carl is forced to just pass back to me since he used his only special summon on Valius. I go to battle phase and swing over Valius and the token with UCT for 2000 damage and Winda directly for 1700 damage, which threatens lethal on my next turn if he doesn't do anything. However, since he controls no monsters, Carl is able to summon Fenrir. I'm forced to book it with UCT, destroying itself in the process. He passes and I activate Double Evolution Pill, and he just scoops. A scary game 1 for sure, but I'm very happy we were actually able to take it. Game 2, Carl makes me go first, and in the standby phase he shifters me. I actually had full combo if I wasn't under shifter, but I try to make the most out of what I have. I special summon Fenrir and follow it up with a normal summon of Oviraptor, but Ovi gets ashed. I use triple tactics to look at his hand, which is Eclipse, Ryzen, and Stake Your Soul. I get rid of Ryzen, which makes him rely on his top deck, since Stake Your Soul needs another monster to work and eclipsing my board wouldn't accomplish anything. Unfortunately for me, Carl drew Durendal, which is basically just another way to get to Ryzen. Carl hits me with Eclipse and then normal summons Ryzen to search Heavy Borger. He follows up with Stake Your Soul, revealing Borger to special summon Mad Love from deck, which searches Continue. Borger summons itself by returning Mad Love and draws him a card by revealing Mad Love in his hand. Carl beats over my 2 monsters, sets Continue, and passes. In my draw phase, he uses Borger again to draw another card. I normal summon Ovi and activate its effect, but Carl chains Valius to return Ryzen and summon itself. However, I chain Misk, so even if he somehow does try to pop a card on our field, all of our dinos would be unaffected. I activate Mist Effect from Grave, banishing itself and summoning Animadorn. Animadorn pops a baby, and I go Chainlink 1 baby, Chainlink 2 Xeno Meteors. Baby summons another baby from deck. Ovi pops a baby to bring back the other baby, letting me get another dino from deck. I Synchro summon Barone with Xeno and Giant Rex, then Barone pops the set continue. I link climb into Pedestag, use Pill to summon UCT from deck and Rex from the banish pile, make Dolka, and swing for game. Good games to Carl, and hopefully we get to run it back next week. Round 4 we played against Justin on Branded Chimera. We made a deck profile for his deck, so make sure to check it out, link will be in the description. We're both undefeated, and this is the last round of locals, so one of us will be getting first place and the other will not, so the pressure is on. I win the die roll and make him go first. He goes full combo with aboard of the Chimera Fusion Monster, Mirror Sword Knight, and 2 back row including their Quick Play Fusion, with Chimera discarding my Dark Ruler in the end phase. Dark Ruler really wasn't going to do anything here anyways. However, I can't push through this board at all, so game 1 goes to Justin. For game 2, I side an anti-spell and choose to go first. This matchup can be a nightmare to go against going second, so I felt like going first was the right play. I summon Fenrir and activate Fossil Dig with the intent to go full combo, but I get drolled. I have to just pass on Fenrir and it's just not enough. Justin combos off and I get very easily OTK'd. A very swift loss for the last round, but I'm happy with how we did. 3-1 is pretty good and we ended up getting second place. And honestly, I had so much fun playing this version of the deck that I just played it again the next day for Saturday locals. And I went X1 again. I definitely recommend this deck for anyone trying to spice up their regular dino lists. Also, I'm pretty sure someone could build a better list for it than I did. So with that out of the way, make sure to subscribe. I'm actually going to start uploading weekly, alternating between this series and sealed only. So if you want to see future episodes, stick around. Also, this can be expensive, so I've set up a Ko-Fi if you guys want to show support for the channel. Link will be in the description. Plus, if you have a deck idea for a future episode of Monster Mash, let me know in the comments below. But my name is Gokuzemi, and I'll see you guys next time for a brand new episode of Monster Mash. See ya!